Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel on human design. I'm Pragya, and in last week's video I looked at energetic compromises in relationships and how to practically live with them or how to practically navigate them, since they're such an unavoidable part of relating with others in the world. This week, I wanted to kind of go down the same path and explore repulsion in relationships. We all know that there are certain characteristics or certain parts of people that we are in relationship with, whether it's romantically or otherwise, that there are certain parts of someone that we feel eventually over a period of time repulsed by. Sometimes the experience very much looks like the very thing that we fell in love with is the very thing that we now feel repulsed by, or we feel turned off by, or we feel hindered by, or we feel irritated by. And this kind of a phenomenon can be explained by electromagnetism or electromagnetic connections in a human design chart. So if you're interested in exploring repulsion in relationships, then continue watching this video. I'm gonna use the same charts in this video as I used in the last video. By the way, if you want to first go check out that video, you can do that up here. I'll link it. But yeah, let's look at the relationship chart, the composite chart between me and my mom. My mom is a 3-5 emotional projector and I'm a 2-4 mental projector. And this is our connection chart together. And when it comes to electromagnetic connections, which is one of the 4 ways of being connected to someone energetically, well, electromagnetism happens between 2 people when we have a hanging gate in a center and the other person has a hanging gate on the other side. In other words, we are electromagnetically attracted to the energy of the other that awakens a dormant potential within ourselves or awakens an active gate to experience itself through the expression of a full channel. Now, it's really important to understand that just because we have electromagnetism with someone and we make a channel together does not mean that we actually have access to the whole channel. It only means that we get to experience our side of the gate and become wise about what exists on the other side and become wise about what it is that we don't have. Electromagnetism is the phenomenon that is responsible for us wanting to relate with others in the first place. In other words, electromagnetism is what sparks a relationship. Electromagnetism is what makes us look at the other and say, oh, I'm curious about that person. Oh, I want to get to know them. I want to interact with them. I want to have an experience with them, whatever it is. It is this spark that we feel when we come in connection with the other. That spark of curiosity, that spark of there's something within me that comes alive when I am in relationship with this person or when I am in aura with this person. Electromagnetism is basically nothing but our genes saying that it is only when we interact with other genetic possibilities that a new third genetic possibility can come into existence, and hence the human population can continue to grow and the genes can continue to expand and prosper instead of slowly declining and dying. And yes, it's true that our interactions with others, our relationship with others, are way beyond expanding our genetic possibilities, is way beyond creating an offspring of some kind together. It is about sharing our deep, unique, individuated truths with each other. But it cannot be denied that the way that most relationships begin is on the basis of this spark of difference, is on the basis of There's something within this other person that I am extremely attracted to. And we don't really understand this, but we're attracted to something within them because there is something within us that can benefit from something within them. In other words, there is something within the other that we can learn from about ourselves when in relationship with them. So electromagnetism in relationships starts off really fun. It can be extremely juicy. It can be extremely attractive. It can be something that literally pulls us towards someone and in some way also makes us crave someone, because finally for our design there's this opportunity to explore this aspect of ourselves that we weren't being able to explore before, or even if we weren't being able to explore that before because we have an active gate in a defined center. But the way that we connect with the other often brings something different to taste for the gate that we already have. So you can understand why that aspect in the other is so attractive for us when we're beginning a relationship, when we're starting to be in connection with someone. It's the very thing that makes you keep coming back to that relationship. Now, this is not to say that this is the only thing that makes you come back to that relationship, because maybe you have resonance elsewhere. Maybe you share the same motivation. Maybe you share the same profile. Maybe you share the same cross. Maybe you resonate with the definition of centers that you have. I mean, there are so many different ways of finding common ground with other people and wanting to be in relationship with other people. But oftentimes, most relationships get started because of this electromagnetism. And there is that sense of, I want to go back. I want to go back and learn something deeper. So we get that there's this attraction to the other, and it happens because of electromagnetism, which happens because we have an active gate in a defined center, or we have a dormant gate in an undefined center. But where does the repulsion come from? You see, what we don't understand is that while on the surface it may appear that you have a perfect part of the puzzle, things are not quite that simple. You see, every gate has a possibility of having one of 6 lights. Every line has a possibility of having one of 6 colors. Every color has a possibility of having one of 6 tones. And every tone has a possibility of having one of 5 bases. So when we look at an activation from the viewpoint of a body graph, it may look really simple, but actually a single gate can be expressed 1,080 different ways. And therefore, while on the surface, because of the spark of the electromagnetism, it may initially feel like you have a perfect match for expressing yourself through the expression of your gate, the truth is that it is highly unlikely that you're going to feel this way for a long time. It's because a hanging gate is not really here to be fixed like a channel. It's actually here to gain wisdom from being attracted to and being in relationship with many different possibilities on the other side. In other words, the hanging gate that you have is a free agent that is here to become very wise about all the different possibilities on the other side. But in relationship with others, it can begin to feel like a prisoner. It can begin to feel too limited. It can begin to feel like I only get to show up in this specific way with you, and you only get to show up in this specific way with me. And while that was so attractive and new and juicy in the beginning, is now stale and restrictive and imprisoning. This is why the very things that we find attractive about the other initially become something that we are repulsed by eventually. So electromagnetism is a very unavoidable part of relating with others, is actually a very necessary way of our genes expressing themselves and multiplying out in the world. But at the same time, if we are not aware of these dynamics, they can become the very reason that there is a lot of friction in our relationship, that there is a lot of irritation in our relationship, and there is this sense of being repulsed by the other that we are in relationship with. This can become extremely evident in relationships in which there are a lot of electromagnetic channels. In my practice, I've seen people having up to 7 electromagnetic channels. And while it's so obvious that if they were at completely opposite corners of the room, that they would be electromagnetically attracted to each other and they would experience a lot of sparks and a lot of curiosity and a lot of attraction and interest in each other, that eventually those electromagnetic sparks would lead to somewhat of a burn. Too much fire, too much electricity, too much magnetism. You see, in relationship with my mother, we can often establish a rhythm and flow and can get a lot of things done. But I also feel sometimes incredibly repulsed by her extreme patterns. And I am sure she feels repulsed by my fixed rhythm, by my fixed patterns. You see, between the two of us, she is the one that fluctuates in extreme, and I am the one that kind of does the same thing over and over and over again, just because it's the right flow for me. Funnily enough, I also share electromagnetism with my friend here. Again, extremely easy for me to be in a flow of doing things with him, and extremely easy for me to be annoyed by him wanting to change the flow, by him wanting to abruptly do something entirely different that I don't have energy for. You see, this is why the very thing that creates a sense of ease between two people or a sense of interest between two people is the very thing that creates a sense of disinterest with two people, is the very thing that makes you want to separate and go out and explore that part of yourself with someone different. So if this repulsion is inevitable, you might ask, how do I then navigate repulsion in relationships? Or how do I then navigate these moments of outburst or irritation or not wanting to engage with the other? Well, the first thing to discuss here is hopefully electromagnetism is the phenomenon that is bringing you in connection with someone, but hopefully it's not the reason that you stay. Relationships that are highly based on electromagnetism often spark really hot and quickly and die out just as quickly. It's because we need genuine resonance with others and ways of connecting with others that are deeper than just attraction, that are deeper than just a sense of curiosity, a sense of you can bring this out in me, and so I want to be in relationship with you. Being in relationship is about being able to share the gift that you each have with the other, to share your unique differentiated expressions and your perception of the world that you live in. And electromagnetism can create a platform for building that kind of a relationship, but cannot be the source of that kind of a relationship in the long run. For example, with me and my friend, there are plenty of other channels that we share that create some sense of companionship. He's also a 4-1 and I'm a 2-4, so we have that resonance in our profiles. We're also both non-energy type. He's a reflector, a 4-1 reflector, and I'm a 2-4 mental projector. And our lives are primarily about awareness, something that we can connect on and share with each other. You see, every relationship brings with it its own unique dilemmas and its own unique challenges. But ultimately, what makes relationships survive is that you are both able to experience yourself in that relationship in a fulfilling way. That I, as a projector, am able to experience success in the relationship, and him as a reflector is able to experience surprise in relationship with me. The other recommendation that Ra often talks about is having aura free time, meaning that you create some sense of space between you and the other person. If you feel like things are getting too heated up in connection together, perhaps giving your sparklers a little space can be really beneficial. Giving them a chance to experience that expression in a different way, or giving the chance for your genes to cool down a bit when it comes to that expression, can actually be really helpful. So if you have a lot of electromagnetics with your partner and things are getting heated, take time and space away. Allow your aura to be free of their aura. And of course, the third thing, the thing that I think is the common thread between all of my videos, is living your life with awareness. When you become aware of these dynamics and you slowly come to the realization that a lot of us don't have choice in how we relate to each other or how things get expressed or what dilemmas come to the surface, we can begin to give people grace and ourselves grace and grow to exist in a more aware relationship which stays away from shaming and blaming each other and acknowledges that every relationship has its own struggles and challenges, and we have our own limitations and challenges as individuals. And coming together isn't about focusing on those challenges and dilemmas, but being able to navigate them with awareness so that we can express ourselves in fulfilling ways in relationship to each other. I think that brings me to the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you liked it, please give me a like. Please leave your comments down below or any questions that you have. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, I would love if you can subscribe and help my videos reach even more people. If you would like to work with me in a personal capacity, I do have my website down below, and there are a bunch of different offerings that you can choose from. I don't yet have a relationship reading on there just yet, but if you would like a relationship reading, you can shoot me an email and we can take it from there. So yeah, have a lovely awareness-filled day in the Maya, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.